Why did you originally want to come to Japan?
Yeah, Magda, why did you originally want to come to Japan?
Thank you for giving me the microphone first.
No worries.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Okay.
So I originally came to Japan because back in university, I had actually heard of the JET program. And I had actually wanted to go on it for a very long time. I think it's actually because I wasn't able to come to Japan when I was a high school student.
Yeah.
So I thought JET was my second option. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to originally come because I thought that it was always interesting to me how different everything was, like compared to America and Poland, actually. I wanted to see what similarities and differences between both of my, like, I guess, heritages, right? Were. So, yeah. Peter?
That's a very proper answer. What do you
Very
think
proper.
about that, Jeff?
I think it's a nice answer. I also wanted to come to Japan to see how Japan was different from America. In school, we're often taught like the exact opposite of America is Japan. So it's very interesting. I wanted to experience that. And I wanted to see how teaching was different in Japan because I'm a teacher. So I wanted to see how education is viewed differently in Japan. How about yourself?
Wow, that's a very great answer. I'm not as proper as you two. Well, I came to Japan because I wanted to experience many things of Japan. I think Japan's great. But the real reason why I came to Japan is because there was a girl I met back in Canada 6 years ago that I wanted to marry. And she moved back to Japan about 2-3 years ago. And I had teaching experience. I just got done university. I was working a job that I didn't really like. So I was like, hey, what's the best way to solve all these problems? Let's move to Japan for maybe 1 year and see if I can create opportunities while I'm here. And then when I got here, I was like, wow, teaching is kind of nice.
Teaching is nice.
These kids are kind of nice. And then the reason changes a bit, and now we're here for our second year.
So you're here for your...
Sorry, I wanted to add
on
top of that actually, even though like what our original like thoughts were for coming here, I feel like being here longer term, I feel like your original goals change just slightly. And although I originally came here because I was really interested in the JET program and I wanted to experience that as a work experience, I think that also shifted seeing everything and meeting people and going on hikes, being invited by people many times, doing spontaneous things, I think changes your perspective and whether you want to stay or not. In my case, I think I'd like to stay. In Japan, yeah, if possible.
For the people that don't know.
Okay, sure. So yeah, if possible, but I mean that's one reason why I took the JLPT, right? I don't know about you guys, but I mean I think working towards that while we're doing our work experience here is a good way to use our time in a way. So yeah. From our original purposes.
So in other words, the people of Nimi are the best?
Yes.
Better than Hiroshima?
Yes.
Oh!
You heard it here first.
No hesitation.
No hesitation.
Nimi number 1. How about you?
Number 1.
Nimi number 1. Let's do Ichiban. Okay. Done. Let's go on to the next question. That was a long question.
I had a question.
Yeah, what's the question?
I had a
question
question.
later.
Since you guys have been here for 2 years, what's your best Japanese cultural insight?
Dang, that lead-in. Hey, Magdo, how would you like going first?
Well, since I spoke last, you can go first, Peter.
All right, so my best Japanese cultural insight would be, as a foreigner, we come here thinking, wow, Japanese people are so polite, they're so reserved, everyone's a shy boy, shy girl. But as soon as you come here, that expectation gets crushed by some really weird, energetic people. And it's nice, it's great. And for the people that you tend to work with or people you see around town, they have a very good, like, tatemae face, which is really great, and I think it's good for society. But if you bring them out to, I don't know, get some coffee, get some drinks, maybe get some drinks, then you get to have a really good insight onto what Japanese culture is really like underneath the surface. And then you realize, oh shoot, these people are just Americans with Japanese faces. Like, it's all the same. Like, it doesn't change.
They're human.
Actually,
They're human. Yeah, they're human. Like, these people are human.
Just like
I feel like
Yeah, just like me.
I feel like, in a sense, yes. But then also, on the other hand, I don't think we'll ever actually be able to experience the true Japanese culture, to be honest. Because, like, I can say this in the sense that, for example, in Poland, Polish people treat Polish people differently than they would a foreigner, you know? And there are only certain things that, let's say, a Polish person and a Polish person will understand. And even if, like, a foreigner wanted to learn it, yeah, they can, but there's certain things that can never, I guess, be translated. And I think that, in a way, us, like, I guess a cultural insight is that, like, we can't ever truly learn, but we can try to understand from whatever they tell us. And also that, what was I going to say? That, like, us as foreigners, for example, I think foreigners, when they come into a different circle, they bring a different kind of energy, right? So, for example, if there's like two people that are of the same culture, they interact a certain way. And let's say that they can't tell each other their true emotions, right? And so there's something that's been like on their minds, but they can't quite get it out. So when there's someone that's different that comes into that circle and with a different energy, then in a way it sometimes it helps break certain barriers and, provide that opening for all three people then. And then, but that third person will never, like I mentioned earlier, will never truly kind of be able to understand those two people, but they can help those two people get to a different type of understanding with a different perspective. Yeah.
Right, what do you think about that, Jeff?
I agree.
Nice. What insight do you have?
What insights do I have? Yeah. In Japan, when somebody says maybe, they mean no.
Jeff, isn't that everywhere in the world? That's the same thing. America, maybe I'll come.
No.
That's like a no.
Maybe in America means 50% chance.
Give it 40.
Give it 40.
Yeah,
in Japan, it's always 0.
Okay.
Today, I was told maybe we'll go somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a definite. That's a definite no.
We're not going there tomorrow.
We ain't going there. Where were we going?
But we're talking about going out to eat. But I think that reflects the politeness of Japanese culture, and trying to make sure that you don't directly say no to somebody. So I think to expect that would be a good thing if you're...
Does that hurt your feelings at all?
No, it doesn't. Maybe it did. I can't remember. Maybe it did at first, but then learning kind of that it's just kind of the polite thing to do here, or the normal thing to do here, made it not hurt.
So you get used to it.
I get used to it. I got used to it.
Yeah.
And now I'm here.
Welcome to Japan.
Thank you.
With that being said, right, you look like you got canceled on with a maybe. What are some of the more challenging things you have experienced during your time in Nihon, in Japan?
I think the most difficult thing, I haven't had any experiences where I felt I actually have. I think the thing that has upset me the most, I was having a bad day and I went to the bank and I was trying to get something done at the bank and I couldn't get it done at the bank. But then the lady just stared at me afterwards and she said, "Oh, your eyes, they're amazing." And I was like, I am trying to get money. I don't need to be told that my eyes are beautiful. Right?
Are you complaining about getting free compliments?
Yes, because
why?
Because I would not have gotten the compliment if I was Japanese.
I think your eyes are great.
I think they are, but it was an out of the blue statement, and it wasn't.
I think
it wasn't
trying
appreciated.
To give you a hint that your eyes can be lasers that can actually attack the ATM machine and give you your money.
Maybe.
I think she just wanted more than just your bank number.
Yeah, but I felt at that time more than any other time that I was being reduced to being a foreigner, because I was being just said, "Oh, you look a certain way."
How does it feel to be objectified?
Not good.
I want to be objectified. Anyways, moving on. Magda, what are some of the more difficult or very heart-wrenching things that you've experienced during your time in Nimi or Japan or Okayama or in Asia?
You should have asked me this last week, only because recently I had a really bad experience on Sunday.
Please do tell.
I don't think I can.
We cannot tell. Give us another experience.
But you know, I'm not the type of person really to keep negative things in my memory bank.
Yeah.
So I usually, I don't know why. They just kind of leave me. But I'd say in another way, challenging things are, for example, when I want to, like, let's say, read the newspaper or read a flyer that someone has given me at work. And this is mostly in terms of my own abilities that I need to improve. But whenever I look at like a flyer and there's so much kanji on it, and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I really want to read you and understand you.
Yeah.
But there's this challenge where it's just like, should I just take out Google Sensei, or should I use my brain and actually read this, you know? And it's always for me, I wish I could just automatically read, but this is really just a challenge in the sense that I should get better at Japanese.
Ganbatte. You can do it.
You can do it, Magda.
Okay, next question.
Oh, wait, Peter didn't answer.
Oh, experience that you have faced during your stay.
Getting you to ask me a question.
Okay.
Okay.
What's
Oh, great. I can speak from the whole I look Japanese, I'm Asian perspective of things.
Yeah.
So it's the complete opposite of you, where I want to be objectified.
Yeah.
Because for any Asian ALTs that come, or any Asian foreigners that come, we come under the assumption that, hey, yo, this is going to be great. It's going to be a new experience. Everybody's going to love me. Maybe.
Yeah.
But looking Japanese, looking like this, you kind of tend to just be another Japanese person, but with the reading level of a first grader and the speaking level of like a kindergartner.
Very much pathological.
Yeah. But just in general, like, you get a lot less sympathy when it comes to your inabilities to communicate.
Yeah.
And then people don't tend to reach out to you as much if you look like this, because you're not visibly foreign.
Yeah.
So if you want to get something done as an Asian ALT or an Asian foreigner, you have no choice but to learn Japanese, to learn how to read, to learn how to speak, to learn how to listen.
I've heard that from other
Yeah. Otherwise, you will get forgotten, especially in like a smaller city where there's not as much English being spoken, right? If you don't take these steps and you take action, then I think you could almost forget about getting any invites, making any new friends, making any new connections, unless you already have a really strong group that's willing to invite you to meet new people.
Yeah.
And even in places like the staff room or at schools, I'm not sure how it is for other ALTs, but again, because you're like not visibly foreign, you tend to be forgotten about. In my opinion, at least.
I'm always forgotten about.
Yeah, even as a regular too, you're forgotten about. But we just tend to like blend in.
Yeah.
And then people are like,
It's an extra level.
yo, why are you being so rude? Why aren't you talking to me? Huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think in general, like most, I'm just comparing some of Asia to like America, but I think there's different manners in like Asia as opposed to America. And just because you look Asian, I think they assume that you also have those manners.
They also assume that I'm just Japanese.
Well, yeah. So, but like, let's say someone that looks like they're Korean. I think they would also assume, oh, they should have this basic sense of mannerisms. You know?
To be fair, I think if they're Filipino or Thai or Vietnamese, there's a little bit of like, how do I put this? There's a little bit more forgiving aspects to that. I feel like, from what I've seen at least. Because then they kind of just assume that you're Indian. So like, you know, if I'm gonna be real with it. Okay, but anyways, enough of Japan, and I think it's great.
Yes.
And it forces you to learn a lot more really fast. It's just me complaining. Anyways, challenging things, all subjective. What advice would you give children when communicating with foreigners?
I think when talking about children communicating with foreigners, I think try not to steal your answers. Because children obviously don't have as high of a level of understanding as like young adults would or teenagers would. So I think using what you don't know, so like using emotions, using gestures, is really important. And then also, yeah, I think when you're a child, you can kind of play on your child, like things that you have as a child more. So you can kind of be more playful with it. So not taking it seriously, I think is good.
Not taking things seriously, being happy, enjoying.
Yeah, but do kids take anything seriously?
No comment. Anyways.
I don't know. I don't feel like I would have much advice for children. If anything, I feel like it'd be advice for adults to like not, because children are naturally curious, you know? So I feel like it's adults that should be a little bit more understanding that, you know, some children, maybe they know some English words, but they don't know how to piece them together. And they might piece them together wrong, but that's okay. You know, they're still learning. And so the adults, I think they should be a little bit more understanding as to the children's, like, you know, how they formulate a question or something, even if they don't say it right. Like, we sort of, I think, have, like, a perception, oh, I think they are trying to say this, you know? So I think the adults should be a little bit more forgiving, if anything. I don't think I have any advice for children, really.
Yeah. I gotta give you all some pushback. So imagine that we're in Okayama City, or we're in Tokyo, or even Osaka, and then you have a parent who has a kid who's trying to speak English, but then they're like, yo, I'm too shy to speak to this foreigner because, like, I don't know English. I can only speak Japanese. What advice would you give to that parent and their kid? Or if they're going abroad and they're like, yo, so many foreigners, this is your opportunity to speak. What advice would you give to them?
Let me think about that.
She's thinking about it.
Circle back.
Let's come back.
It's hard. There's many different different conditions that could make it different. Like if the foreigner that you're talking to is very receptive and they're talking back to you, and they're very playful with it, then I think you can roll with it and just kind of push them to go for it.
Yeah, we're assuming the foreigner doesn't hate kids.
Yeah. Okay, so if the foreigner is okay with you talking to them, because not everybody wants to be talked to, then yeah, I would say let them do what they're trying to do. What do you think?
Yo, let me tell you what I think. I think when it comes down to it, just using the obvious non-verbal communication, so things like gestures, changes in pitch and tone, your facial expressions are very important. Even if somebody doesn't understand a language, they can understand simple gestures like or like you're gross, or like I'm happy. And then if you combine that with any word, they could read the nonverbal gestures, and they could be like, oh, this means this. Oh, I want cup, you know, or I want this, or like nice. More simple words, and just really focus on the nonverbal communication. Now, Magda, what do you think about this?
What about I haven't really thought much about this, but just like, what about like just two simple words, which is like, excuse me, right? Like, just kind of like, if you want to come up and ask a question, like, excuse me is always, I think, a good like entrance, right? Like, it's like being cautious, but at the same time having curiosity. And in a way, everyone knows that excuse me pretty much means like almost as if you want to start and ask a question and you're being polite about it. So maybe that kind of an entrance. I feel like I've seen some when I've been in Okayama or like another city, I've seen, like, let's say a parent and their 5 or 7-year-old child walking together, and suddenly I can just hear that the parent is like, oh, what's that in English, you know? And so the kid will say it, but I think it's because I'm around, right? Yeah. So I'm almost like, do they want me to talk to the kid? You know, I'm not too sure. And so I never understand in those situations, do they want me to turn around and say something? You know, because are they just trying to practice their English because I'm walking around? I don't know. Yeah. Are they just reminded of it? Yeah. So I think, like, if they actually are curious and want to ask something, maybe just excuse me really could be just the opener.
That, madam, is a pen.
Oh. これはペンです。
これはペンです。
Gem of Nimi.
I think David Huerta is the hidden gem of Nimi.
Okay.
You have to give an honest answer.
What do you think, Marco? Do you have any hidden gems?
I think the hidden gem are honestly the events that happen that aren't that catch me by surprise every time. Like, for example, when we went to go plant rice, I was like, I had no idea that this is even a thing.
Yeah.
I think those are kind of the hidden gems that come out and about in Nimi, because although, let's say, the population is dwindling, there are still people that are very active to try and keep it alive, and by making events like those and having people come together and do things.
Yeah.
So I think I really love those kinds of things. Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Jeff?
Well, I think that's a great answer. I think activities, things that occur at only one time, are really, really interesting and really fun, and they're very unique, I'd say. But I'm trying to think of a place I've been in Nimi that's been very special.
Ibuki
I
ramen.
can't say Ibuki ramen is not a hidden gem.
It's just a gem.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you have any?
I think, like, more so than a place, just the people. And I know it's a cop-out answer, but when you get to know people around town and you get to know their stories, like even the people that we're having dinner with right now, there's so many heavyweights in Nimi that are just, they know so much. They've done so much in their lives, but you would never know unless you found an opportunity to speak to them.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I worked in Tokyo. I went overseas for like 10 years. I'm one of the best tatami makers in all of Japan.
Yeah.
Look what I can do with my thumb. Like, there's so many interesting people that if you get the chance to speak to them, then it's just so good.
I honestly don't think that I've seen this many, like, let's say, Japanese people that have had so many experiences, like, around the world, whether it's around the world or whether it's around all of Japan. Like, I feel like whenever I've traveled in Japan, because I've been, like, at least now I think I've been around 17 different places in Japan, like cities, towns, villages.
Wow, well traveled.
And I haven't seen this, like, or maybe it's because I haven't lived in those places. That could also be a possibility. But I really don't think I've ever seen or met people that have had such a, like, diverse amount of experiences, really. So.
Hi.
Yes.
You still haven't answered yet. What's your hidden gem of Nimi?
Ibuki ramen, final answer.
You have it here, folks. Inoshishi?
No. Chashumen. Hi. Wata.
Arigatou gozaimasu. And what's your name?
Magdalena Naslonsky.
And where are you from?
From Arizona, but also parents are from Poland, so Polish and American.
Nice. Favorite food?
Anything done. Anything done, like gyudon, katsudon.
She likes rice. Anyways.
Yeah.
And what's your name?
My name is Jeffrey Pullman.
How tall are you?
I am 178 centimeters,
Alright.
I think. I don't remember in centimeters. I'm 5'11".
Nice.
American.
What country are you from?
I'm from America.
Oh, what part of America?
I'm from Missouri, right in the middle.
Is Missouri nice?
It's very nice.
That's awesome. Do you like that purple shirt?
I do like the purple shirt.
That's great.
And what is your name?
My name's my name's Peter Sinkyo.
And how many magic tricks do you know?
All of them.
Describe all of them.
Like 2 hours worth.
Okay, can you show us 2 hours worth right now?
No.
Okay, you know many, many magic tricks. Good for you. And how many weights can you lift?
Like 1.5.
Very impressive. Thank you very much.
I know. Thank you.
Finished.